Hello and welcome to the Worn and Wound podcast. My name is Blake Bettner. We are in studio today. It is 2023. I am joined with Zach Weiss right there. Hey, Zach.
Hey, Happy New Year, all.
Well, Happy New Year. Yeah,
It's 2023.
It's 2023. We've got Thomas Klar right there. Hey, Thomas, how are you?
What's up, guys? Happy New Year.
Yeah, same to you. Thomas. Thomas is right there. Patrick.
It's my brother's name.
Is it?
Yeah,
I knew
my
that.
future father-in-law. But it's not mine.
Okay.
No, it's hi. Happy New Year. False anger. I'm fine. Hi, Kazan. How are you?
Hey, Zach.
Hey, I'm doing well. Happy New Year, everybody.
And there's Zach up in Concord.
Up in Concord. Yeah.
I think it's 2023 up there too.
Or it's like
Yep.
1823.
Yep. We are. Oh, come on. we have all sorts of modern technology up here. Very
Got those new horses.
got high speed internet and everything. Yeah.
Love it. We are here to talk about the coming year, as we like to do around this time of year, I suppose. In the beginning.
It's better to make predictions before they happen.
Yes. Yeah. We did this last year. It was fun. I don't know how accurate it ended up being. Semi. Thomas thought you're kind of.
Yeah. I kind of recall a little bit of like what we talked about last year. So.
He's younger.
I have
he
no
has a better memory
memory.
than any of us.
Yeah, what did we talk? I don't know. We made some jokes.
I said Black Bay FXT. That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted.
We talked about. I think we said colorful watches, new materials, and I think we saw those kind of trends.
So pretty general, therefore we wouldn't be wrong.
Pretty
ever.
obvious.
Yeah,
Yes.
I
Types.
like it. I
We
like
talked
it.
about smaller watches as well.
I gotta keep my predictions safe, because I don't like to be wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
There will be mechanical watches in the year 2020.
I don't mind being wrong or looking silly. A guy just left a comment on our YouTube review about how I dressed. So sorry to that guy.
Hey,
I will work on it for this next year.
What were you wearing?
My appearance. I had a hat on. It was very cold that stretch, so I had like a beanie hat on. He's like,
How
you
silly.
shouldn't wear a beanie hat. You look ridiculous, and it doesn't fit your personality.
Damn.
I wish you guys would tell me this stuff. This is helpful stuff to know.
That's what
Obviously, he was a fedora guy.
Well, I walk in.
You want
guys,
honesty? You go to your mom or YouTube.
Okay.
All right. You know.
How does this person know it doesn't fit your personality? Is it like that? That doesn't make any sense.
From the 7 minutes he watched.
You watch me review
he knew-
Seiko.
Yeah, he knew Benner's personality.
Jeez.
I don't know the temperature of the top of Blake's head.
Look,
Top of the
well, look, it's more
You
like
guys
when
should maybe turn the heat up in the office.
There are times when it is stifling in here too, though. So it
In
kind of
this
comes
room,
and goes.
it's more of a hair. If I don't have a haircut and you got a beanie on, then it's like, what am I? I got to manage my hair, and it's a whole thing. I don't know.
No, I get you. I do the same
So,
thing. We all do the same thing.
Yeah.
This person's just insecure. I think they're projecting. Don't let it bother you.
Oh, it doesn't. It doesn't bother me. I don't mind.
YouTube comments.
Well, yeah, YouTube comments. All right, before we get to what we want to talk about for 2023, what is definitely going to happen in 2023, we can do a wrist check. Thomas / Patrick, what do you got on your wrist?
I'm wearing the Grand Seiko, the one and only, the SBGYN 7294. That's the reference. Look it up.
Okay.
We're not going to second guess you because none of us know.
Hey, that sounds
must be
right.
true.
Yeah, exactly. It starts with an S, right? No, it's a Grand Seiko GMT on a RM Falklands strap.
Looks great on that strap. And I like this too because you are a noted bracelet guy.
Yeah, it's changed.
Just
me.
like Thomas over there.
That's right.
It's changed me, man. It's very weird. Everything else, and sort of an OEM snob too. I usually stick with whatever the manufacturer gives you.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they have a sense of the personality of the watch. You know what I mean? Like whether it should have a beanie or not.
Yeah, exactly.
So like if they put it on a bracelet that looks like an Oyster Link bracelet, I'm going to assume that they thought that looked good, and I should think it looks good too.
Wow.
But I've sort of
I
like
don't take that approach at all.
I kind of do. I'm like, I like to think there are some watches where you can tell like the accessory is well thought, but in this instance, like it was not, and I'm just so tired of wearing that bracelet. So I'm really glad I found this strap. Shout out CWC for selling it to me. I don't know if anyone else sells a strap of this style, but it's fantastic.
It's a very interesting style.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool.
It's a beanie on the wrist.
It's a beanie
like
for
a
the
beanie
wrist.
for the wrist.
Yeah.
Yes.
Love it. Thomas, what do you got on over there?
So today I have the Seiko SNE 573. It's on a gray NATO. And kind of in the spirit of New Year's and whatnot, part of my watch resolution is to kind of lean into wearing the watches that I have for like longer periods of time. You know,
okay.
instead of switching every other day.
I like it.
I'm still gonna wear the watches that you guys give me to review. So, but other
Sorry.
than that, I'll
Sorry about that.
exactly. Yeah, occupational hazard, I guess.
Take
but
that thing off.
right,
Watch
exactly.
resolution. This is a concept.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you guys? Do you make? Well, we'll get there. We'll get there after the wrist check. Let's come back to this. I
for
want to
sure.
talk about this,
For sure.
and then we can all tell not only our resolutions, we can all our watch resolutions as well. Zach Kazan, what are you wearing?
I'm wearing the Grand Seiko SBGW 283 today, the little 37 millimeter light blue dress watch. In the
He
Elegance
remembers
collection.
the number.
Oh yeah, yeah. I knew that one too, though. Yeah, not a big deal.
I've gotten to the point where I can like the SBGW. I know is like the smaller hand wind one, and the
Yeah.
SB.
Well, it gets a little tricky though
SBGE.
because the SPGW is multiple smaller hand wound ones. Though it's
Okay.
more like that's the hand wound.
And I know the Y is that kind of nicely shaped case that doesn't have the date on it.
Oof, I don't even know.
And the E is that kind of sporty one with the GMT. So I'm getting in the ballpark where I'm starting to get it down. Bear with me though. Mr. Weiss, what are you wearing?
I have on the Porsche Design Chronograph 1, an original from the time that those were original. So presumably the late 70s. I don't know the date on this one, but it's one that I won on eBay last year at some point, I think. And I bid on it without the intention of winning it. I was just like, I'll throw a number out there. That was a very nice number.
You shot your shot.
Yeah, and I got it
And it
because it
worked.
really is in really good original condition. I did have it serviced late last year too, just a full overhaul on the movement only, which was quite expensive, I have to say. But just to make it.
Did it have eBay's authenticity guarantee?
This did not
Sub 2K then.
I think I don't
There
know
you
if this
go.
was before. Yeah, so it
that's
was
right.
sub 2K.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Good
Oh
deal.
wow, that's
Yeah,
great.
that's
Yeah.
a,
Yeah,
that's
great
an
deal.
awesome deal,
That's
dude.
Awesome to
These
go
are started-
towards the movement.
Yeah.
Repair, you're saying.
Yeah, I know. I spent a significant, whatever. You get a quote from, a watchmaker I trust. So I just, I said yes, but it was an expensive movement repair. But it's an old movement that
Yeah.
no idea what the service history was. And it was keeping really good time. But the chronograph was not resetting
Okay.
all the time. So
That's an issue.
Clearly there was something wrong with it. So
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a nice one.
Yeah, it's
I like it.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm wearing my Zen U50 on the OEM H-Link bracelet, and I guess this is the irony here of us at the table, and that we are like kind of not the bracelet guys, wearing our watches on their bracelets, and the bracelet guys are wearing their watches on
Strap reversal.
non-bracelets.
Exactly. New year, new me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look,
Last year I made a big sort of transition into the world of bracelets because I really never wore watches on bracelets at all before.
Yeah.
And now the Porsche design watches that I have, because I might have more than one of these.
Look out.
The bracelet is definitely like part of it. I feel like it goes really well with it. It's also particularly like kind of comfortable, loose sort of bracelet with a really significant taper. So it has that kind of old school feel to it. And then the Black Bay Pro. Whenever I take the bracelet off of that, sometimes I like it on other straps, but then I'm just like, ugh,
It needs that
just
bracelet.
that bracelet works so well for it.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, Tudor and Rolex bracelets. Those are the brands of watches that I have that I pretty much exclusively wear them on. Their OEM bracelets. They're good.
I remember Zach Kazan. You had mentioned sometime last year. You said that a Rolex steel sports watch is basically an integrated steel sports watch because it's like might as well just keep it on the bracelet.
Because it's trash on anything else. Right?
I stand by that. They're designed and conceived as watches to be worn on bracelets, and you can really tell when you try to fit a strap on it. Like everything's just so sharp, and they're kind of tricky to wear on.
I actually do feel that way whenever I take the 14270 off of its bracelet and I try to like do a NATO or like a leather strap. Like it looks naked without the bracelet.
At least your Explorer doesn't have a divot in between the lugs.
I know we were talking about this earlier, and like the Explorer, I don't mind. That's like probably one of the easiest watches to
Yeah,
get away
for sure.
with doing that. But yeah, the others, and I've done it on I think all of my, where I'll put some random strap on it. It never lasts more than like a day or two, and then it's right back to the.
Did 1016s come with bracelets?
Mm-hmm.
They did. Because I feel like though, like when I picture 1016, it's not on a bracelet. It's like usually on a vintage strap, or like leather, rugged leather strap, or a worn in NATO. Just that's the style, And I guess the pad printed numerals and everything kind of work better a little bit than the applied numerals.
In the case, especially at the lug, how it kind of tapers down there.
It's like vintage subs too. I picture them. I mean, I know those are people are hardcore for the bracelets there too, but they also look stellar.
They look great.
Of course, modern ones.
Nope.
Can't even imagine it. It's like
you're like, oh, this case is like kind of ugly if you see it not on the like. Zach's right. It just doesn't look.
It's basically like a square. It's got the lugs or lugs. Anyway.
Yeah. And I should say, just to clarify, I think vintage, it's totally fair game. You put a strap on your vintage Rolex. That makes a lot more sense than on a modern Rolex, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Get down with that.
Zach Kazan, do you make New Year's resolutions, and are any of them watch related?
I want to read less and watch more TV. I guess that's my main New Year's resolution. I don't really
drink less water, more booze.
I'm not really in the habit of making New Year's resolutions. No shade to people who do. It's just not something I've ever really actively taken a part in. You don't make any grand pronouncements going into the year. This year, I'm gonna. No, I feel like that's setting yourself up for failure. To just to say you're gonna accomplish something really significant, and then you never do. You should work towards small goals all throughout the year.
I agree with that.
Mm-hmm. Take the laundry off the floor. Check.
Yeah.
Do the laundry. Check.
Yeah.
Wake up. Check.
Yeah. So. That's good. I don't know if you guys have any other thoughts on it. Do you
resolutions?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. This year, I didn't even think about it. I don't know why. It didn't occur to me to make any resolutions. Last year, I had a few. The only one that just because Zach reminded me of was to read more because I'd sort of fallen out of the habit of reading, and I did it. I did achieve that. I read quite a bit last year, which was nice.
What was there any book that stands out to you that you would recommend?
So I read the entire 9-book series of the Expanse books. Which
this
were
is
fantastic.
The 3-body problem.
No,
that's a part of that. No, that's a different thing.
That's its own thing. That is the 3-body problem. Is the first of a trilogy of books.
I thought
the
there was
Expanse.
A whole thing. Okay.
The Expanse novels are there's a TV show called The Expanse, which is based on books 1 through 6, but there were actually 9, with the last 3 taking place 30 years after. And it's just it's a really good sci-fi experience. It was a lot of fun. And then I put up on Instagram that I had finished them, and I got a lot of really, really good recommendations for this year.
Oh, very cool.
So that's fun.
All right, The Expanse.
Yeah,
I recommend it. Sure. It's fun.
The show's good too. Didn't Jeff Bezos save the series or something? I thought I saw an article.
It was on Sci-Fi, and then they brought it back on Amazon Prime for the last couple of seasons of it.
Which were good.
They were good. That was a great show. Yeah. I mean, that's what got me interested in the books because the idea that there was more of it really, compelled me.
And the books were better, I assume. Sorry.
Yeah, there's a lot more to the the narrative, the characters, and they did a good job on the show though, considering how complex it all is. But no resolutions this year. I don't know. I had a watch resolution last year. It was I'm not buying a new watch, and I bought a watch a day later, and then it was on a tear most of the year. So I'm gonna try not to be as bad as last year's a resolution.
I think it's one of the most. So a day or two ago, we had an article go live talking about all of our thoughts on 2023, and not everybody in here has written those down yet, so I won't put anybody on the spot. But I think just broadly, I kind of talk about simplifying how I approach these things and taking a more kind of methodical and less kind of reactionary approach. Just like getting a tattoo. You don't have to rush into that. No. It'll be there forever, right? But taking a more slow down and
it's really hard not to be impulsive.
Yeah,
with watch.
Yeah, it is. But I feel like this. So I feel like the last couple of years, it's been a lot of kind of hype culture and speculators and investment types and all that kind of stuff have come into the space. And as the market kind of cools down right now,
you realize what a terrible idea that all was.
I hope. I think a lot of people will kind of start to. I think it will kind of contract a little bit. But I think it will be a net gain if you look back over the past like 5 years of people that came into it for maybe those reasons or reasons like that, but are sticking around for their own reasons, which are like, oh, I actually really kind of like this stuff. And they become like into it. And the people that were just into it for like a quick buck or a status thing or flashy or whatever, they'll probably kind of maybe find their way out if it's not like as hot as it once was. So, I think that it will change the kind of complexion and how we, like, the influences that are kind of around us and the forces that operate around us won't be, I don't know, as kind of centralized around that stuff anymore. At least I hope. And conversely, I think a lot of people that have been into the hobby for a long time kind of sat on the sidelines for the last couple of years. Like, oh, this is not me and I don't like any of this stuff, and prices got exorbitant and priced a lot of people out. And as the market kind of normalizes or cools down or whatever you want to call it, like maybe some of those people start to come back into the space. And it's not like a ridiculous thing to wear like whatever watch you like wearing and a flashy thing anymore or anything like that. So I think that the complexion of the community will kind of take a shift this year.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's hard to remember back to what things were like 5-10 years ago, but definitely like the mania, like there's that there's like a feeling of it's hard, like it's almost like it's like FOMO kind of a thing around what it's like. It's that wasn't there. It just wasn't there. I mean, sure, there were watches that you just couldn't afford because where you were in your life, and maybe that was disappointing to you, but that's just the reality of everything. But it wasn't this like I'm gonna miss out on every watch by this brand that comes out because there's a group of people who know better than me or something like that. Or and just it's hard to I don't know, mania is the right word. That's the only word I can think of. Like even in the way comments get like collected on Instagram, where a post will get like 2,000 comments and it's people like arguing and fighting and whatever. It's just like, I don't know. It's strange. It's a strange time, and it's perhaps as part of this life cycle of hype.
I don't know if it's always been like this, but I feel like there's a cyclical aspect to all of this. Like I feel like there's a watch that comes out, it's very popular, it'll gain traction on social media, we all write about it, and I feel like the people who really want it are going to buy it, and then people who kind of like sit back and just kind of like wait to see kind of how it all transpires, and then there's the whole thing about it hitting the gray market, and then I don't know. I just feel like that ties into with what you were saying just about kind of slowing down and being patient, because like a watch is always going to be available. But I just feel like even if it is like a limited edition watch in my head, like even if I did like want it, like I just know in my head that it's like that watch later on, like down the line in some form or capacity is going to be available. And I don't know if that's how it's always been. If there's like that, like
there wasn't. That I recall, these were the watches that I was buying at the time, which just has changed so much. But like there just wasn't that pressure, really.
It's never been quite like it is now, and I think that's because there's been like a certain mainstreaming of the hobby. Like it's not really like the small niche that it was. I think when most of us sort of got into watches, it's just like much bigger now, and so you attract more people who are speculating and kind of like riding that hype train. It's not as the hobby isn't as occupied by like the pure enthusiast anymore.
I think about brands like when Ming first launched, like their watches were certainly available, you know what I mean? And I remember like debating it. I was like, it's just not my thing right now. If I want one, it's like, well, I guess they have the opportunity, but you have to buy in this crazy arrangement that and it's not like a discount.
You pay for it, and then you get it in a year, and you're fighting with like a bunch of people who are trying to do the exact same thing. It's wild.
Yeah,
that's not like appealing to you.
No, and and it's like it's not their fault. It's like they try to create a system within this mania that will work for people, and it's just there is no real great way of doing it. But Brew watches sell it instantaneously, and Lori sell it instantaneously, and Baltic sell it instantaneously. I mean, those Panda chronographs, it's like that was their most expensive watch by 4x or something, and like they went in a flash. I don't know, it's pretty wild. But then, and conversely, I remember when the Grand Seiko Genbi Valley watches came out, I remember I felt that panic. Like, I love this watch. I have to get it. I have to get it today. It's not going to be gone. And I watched as like one of the models, like the 275, the like turquoise one, like went out of stock as I was debating. I was like, oh my God, I got to get this. So I got the 277 and they went out of stock, and they were out of stock for a while. 2 years-ish later, whatever. I just saw one for sale for less than the retail was.
Yeah.
So they're round, right?
You know, exactly. So
patience.
it's like, patience, you know. Can't say that for every watch in the world, but like, it's like it's all in your head.
Yeah.
You know, my head particularly.
Well, it's I think it's the same with a lot of different products that are out there, and it's starting to kind of come back to bite. Like these, like the GPU and the CPU market, I'm starting to see now that a lot of scalpers that had bought those to flip are now like forced to sell them at MSRP or maybe below because they've got all these cards, and it's a similar thing.
The Bitcoin mining has slowed down. People they're not using them.
Electricity bills went up, and
but yeah, that's the complexion of who was buying them changed.
Yeah,
all that. So and it's not like people don't need a new GPU for their PC every year. Like that's like a watch. Like that's it's a longer cycle that it's supposed to be. So I don't know what they thought was going to happen, but
so okay, with that, let's say that is the prediction. Let's say it comes true. Like there's a cooling down. The mania kind of peels back. I mean, there could be the side effects of that, though, could be that like inventory isn't moving as quickly, and thus development cycles slow down, and you kind of might get a less kind of fast-paced new products. Or like last year, the amount of watches that were released, I feel like outpaced many years before it. I mean, the grants, like we were getting hit up bi-monthly by some companies for new releases. Like I don't think that they'd be doing that if their inventory was sitting. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I think there's always going to be a reaction to a lot of this stuff, right? And the brand's got to eat.
The gray market guys are sitting there like, give us the extra inventory. It's going to be great.
Oh my gosh.
Boom years for us.
These gray people, these authorized,
they're not authorized.
Non-authorized. I meant
we do not endorse the gray market.
What do they call them? Like trusted dealers or whatever on the forums, right? Like these people need to have some humanity brought back into them, I think, in this realm, right? Because it's, I don't know, I don't deal with these people all that often, but in the few times that I have, it's been very cold, very like off-putting, I guess, to me. Yeah. But
the ones who bought a bunch of stainless steel Daytonas at $30,000 a piece, they're gonna have some humanity reintroduced to them.
Real quick
at a certain point. I wouldn't want to be holding a bunch of those, bought at that price. So.
Yeah, they're gonna have to get real friendly.
Yeah.
That would be another change that I would like to see happen. And obviously, when I think we would all like to see just more availability of watches that people want to buy, so that they can buy them without having to, so people, enthusiasts aren't like priced out of certain markets.
And just the lure of your brand shouldn't be that it's unobtainable. It should be that you make a good product that's well designed, that's interesting, that tells a good story, that is significant. It's not just like that it's hard to get, because that's a lame story. I don't know.
It is a lame story. Yeah.
It's a lame story.
Yeah. All right. So what do you guys think? 2023. What are your thoughts? Thomas, I'm going to
kick it off.
You've got
all right, let's go. So let's see. This one's a softball, I guess, considering like how 2022 played out, and it's we saw a lot of GMTs, right? We saw a lot of GMTs in 2022. We saw the SSK. We saw something like the Serica, right? We saw the Unimatic, Modelo Uno, and Titanium. We saw a bunch, and I think that with the continued use of the ETA 2893-2, and then the introduction or the continued introduction of the Miyota 9075, we're going to see a lot more micro brands use this, and hopefully we'll see some more GMTs in at an affordable price. That, and I also think titanium as well. Titanium made a had a big year.
thunder here, man.
Oh, my bad. Man.
Titanium, it's here to stay.
Sorry,
Look out.
I think it's here to stay. And just the notable watches, obviously the P39.
Yeah.
And then in more affordable examples like the Baltic Aquascav. I really think that's like an awesome watch. That's titanium. And like I've never been put on Scurf, but like Scurfa like has that like $200 titanium diver.
Scurfa, yeah. Boulder.
Yeah. So it's
Bertucci field watches.
Bertucci.
They've always been advocates of the titanium. I think they get kind of left out of the conversation, but yeah.
So
titanium.
Yeah,
Great.
titanium GMTs. I think we'll see some more of those in 2023. And I'm here for it.
I like it.
I'm not going to be complaining about it. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Bertucci. They have a titanium watch?
Like most of their watches are
Really?
titanium.
I don't know if I knew
think
this.
it's like
Oh.
yeah, and they're very, very cheap. I mean, I think they're largely sub $200 even. Certainly sub $5, sub-ish $3. I don't know, but they're inexpensive and they do definitely a lot of titanium, and they're all pass-through strap watch it. Like they don't have spring bars and stuff like that. They have like a unibody construction thing.
Very cool.
Yeah, they were doing FXD before
it was cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Love it. I was in a men's shop in like a gear fashion outdoorsy, because I have like beanies and dress like a lumberjack, right?
You're getting your camo tuxedo for New Year's.
So it was in Webster Groves in St. Louis, a suburb of St. Louis, just outside. And our friend Jeremy Kirkland, his brother, works there. So I picked up a couple things, but they had a small like selection of watches that they sold there, and they were Bertucci's, and they were the first time that I had seen them in like just a physical retail store outside of our own. So shout out Bertucci. And they had one of those full loom.
Yeah, the full loom.
Yeah, those are cool.
The whole case.
It's not loom titanium. Wow.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good call out, and I think GMTs and just kind of more quote unquote exotic stuff. And it's not exotic, like coming into normal.
Well, I think it's just also in particular with the Seiko and the Miyota, it's just like that sub $1,000 GMTs will be a normal occurrence now. Yeah. Because before, I mean, until like ETA or like Swatch groups sort of introduced those, I guess they have some Powermatic GMTs. I'm trying to remember, but they are teetering around like 1,000, maybe a little under.
Yeah.
But like they're pretty few and far between, even in their own brands. Like they haven't really broken those out too much yet, and they're not available outside of the group, so it doesn't really even, well, that doesn't matter, but doesn't affect like independence.
Yeah.
But I mean, the sub $500 GMT. It's just such a great concept.
It's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Every time I see the price of the SSK, I'm like, what?
Yeah. And then the Notice Sector has a GMT is also sub 5.
Yeah, good pull there.
Yeah, it's very cool.
It's a good one.
We have an SSK coming in, by the way, that will be getting reviewed. Very soon. So if you're good to see that, Thomas will be taking the lead on that.
That's right. You're the GMT baby, 2023.
Yeah, there we go. All right. But I also think like I think the Bel Canto, I think changed something. Yeah. Like, and I think we'll see a lot more creativity and complications and things like that. At price ranges that aren't like $100,000, right?
I think that was a shot across the bow of like the Swiss watch industry in a major way by, a supposed like underdog brand that, has been doing quite a good job just chugging along, just sort of out on the outskirts of the mainstream. But my God, like it's just, nobody disagrees. It's like, it's impressive. I mean, sure, it's not a minute repeater, but it's a unique, novel, ground up design for a China. Like, I mean, it's very, and it's super well executed. It's
execution. That's all. That's all that matters.
I jumped on it. I mean, and I have virtually no regrets. I'm buying that watch. You know what I mean? Like,
even seeing the other colors now, would you have gone for?
Well, okay. If they had the whole rainbow available at the same time, because now there was the blue that I got, which was the first one. I bought it instantaneously. Then they came out the green, which honestly wasn't my type of green. It was like more of like a, I don't know, like a
bright green.
Yeah, like a 100% green. You know, and like, but now there's a light blue, a copper, a purple, and a black. That I believe are in pre-order for only people who are on the wait list for the original ones before they.
Purple, black, There's so many.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all. I think they're all really sharp.
Yeah, they're all really sharp. So I don't know, but I'm happy with the blue.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to switch it out.
Yeah.
I probably would have been boring and gone for black in the end because I do think it looks really good. The parts really pop off the dial in black, and
Does it still have that sort of sunray?
yeah, I think it's the same, just the color. You know, just
I haven't taken a look at them.
yeah.
I love what Christopher Ward does. They've been just smashing the competition for years with like chronometer grade watches that are nearly $1,000 or just a little over 1,000.
I mean, people should have had this reaction to when they launched the SH21 5-day chronometer movements years ago, but instead it was tumbleweeds by everyone except for us.
They've been low key innovative for quite
a long time.
Right.
And the jump hour that watch that the new chiming mechanism is based on is over a decade old. In-house jump hour complication.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet.
No, it's very cool.
I'm really it's great to see them get the attention they deserve.
Yeah.
I just like the compression diver personally. I still really want
cool.
one.
I mean, they brought back the real compression spring and everything. That was
it's
like
an actual compression.
How many
case.
people do that though now? Are there that many people making actual compression divers?
There's a handful, but it's like few and far between. I think that brand Circula does it. They do the real compression spring.
Facts.
But then there's other that have compression but it's more through like an O-ring. It's not the spring kind of a thing.
Spring kind of a thing. Gotcha.
Spring kind of a thing. Yeah.
Love them.
Zach, what about you? You got any takes for 2023 over there?
So I think that I wrote an article a while back about this, like the emergence of these like micro independent brands, like Holthenricks and like Garrick and some others, and I'm looking for brands like that to kind of have a big year. I think that as like a new crop of collectors and enthusiasts kind of like matures and kind of wants to like seek like different kinds of watches that are like unique and kind of outside the normal kind of like steel sports watch category that's been I think kind of like played out kind of relentlessly over the last few years. I think that those brands have an opportunity to offer something that's like genuinely pretty different. So I think that the brands like that offer some sort of like high craft aspect, something like handmade and unique. I think those brands will have a good year, and it's something that I'm like personally just pretty interested in and think is an area of the hobby that is just like wide open, for people to for brands to kind of experiment in and for watchmakers to experiment in. So I'm going to be looking pretty closely at that, and I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, there's some exciting young talented watchmakers out there, and some of the bigger ones are continually being like lauded, and their auction results are going well. So they're getting like more visibility and recognition, which I think has been a long time coming for some of them. But there's like a whole new crop of those types that are kind of ready to. I think Romain Gauthier will have a really big year. He was a
huge
understudy of Philippe Dufour's. So when you talk about like hand finishing and internal angles on there are people doing it at a very, very high level that haven't quite like hit that that bump yet that I think will in the coming year. And I think that kind of like feeds all the way down into some of the really interesting things happening in the like back down a little closer to earth as well. So people are definitely paying attention to that kind of stuff, and I hope that gets a broader.
I agree with you, Zach. I think that we're going to see a deviation from the kind of the traditional sports watch, and I think that Belcanto speaks to that, and that's what I would kind of like to see. I would kind of like to see brands or more like affordable like options where these brands that kind of get to experiment, and we're seeing these different types of watches that aren't your typical sports watch or diver.
That don't adhere at a glance to a specific.
Correct.
Oh, that's a
right
field watch, dive watch.
I think the mid-century sports watch has run its course. Yeah. And I mean, it's a classic thing. It's like a safe thing, and something that when people say like everyone has to have one in their collection, but there's like kind of room in your collection for a mid-century style diver of someone, whether it's from Seiko or Laurier,
and there's plenty to choose from,
Yeah,
from up and down the price spectrum.
Lots of choices. So like, it's almost a little bit like for a brand now to enter and do another cool mid-century diver is almost riskier than maybe trying something new and interesting because you've kind of seen it all before.
People are like very open to new things right now. I think like a lot of these watches that offer something a little bit different are becoming harder to get. You mentioned Laurier, the Zephyr, I think is sold out through like the middle of this year. Yeah.
That's awesome. Kudos to them.
So, and that's a brand that like has been, up until the Zephyr was making like exclusively those types of mid-century vintage inspired sports watches. So I think that's like a sign that, the enthusiasts are like kind of looking for something else, outside of that kind of like traditional, like sports watch formula.
I do wonder actually, if a little bit of this, like particularly the micro indie sector that we kind of like identified on the site and Zach in your article, I don't know, maybe it's in sort of a 3 to 10K price range. So there's probably, it's muddy getting into prices there, but there sort of starts in that area. I kind of wonder though, if that popularity is a bit of a reaction to the inaccessibility of all these larger brands that were so much more kind of obvious ways to kind of spend money and potentially get like investment grade things or investment grade. I don't want to maybe get into that word, but you know what I mean though, because I don't know how that translates back. But like, if you're being told for your, I don't know what a Submariner costs, but let's just round it up to 10K-ish. Is that about right? 10?
At retail?
Yeah, retail.
About 10K.
About 10K. Like you're being told you have potentially years long wait list for that, or you can go and hit up Garrick online and get a watch that is absolutely everything you want, right? I mean, within their language, with the handmade touch and all that. Like, I think to a lot of people right now, it's
compelling,
and it's compelling, And the more money there was to burn, the more they're like while they're waiting for those other things. If money was no object, they're kind of focusing on these other brands, and those brands got built up, and they've grown a lot in their skills. Like Haltenrich, which you mentioned, like their most recent watches, I think they've done some solid gold stuff. Are like absolutely stunning, Yep. And they're still using this 3D printed technology. But when they first came out, they looked like 3D printed watches. Like it was sort of like a novel thing, and now they've turned that into a real art form and a real like a legit brand. I hate saying it. You were always a legit brand. We're really big fans, but you know what I mean. Like it didn't look like a project anymore. Like it looked like a brand. Now it looks like a brand that's going to be around for a really really long time because they make beautiful things.
Yeah, love it. Another brand I'm excited to see what they do in this next year is Noyoda Hida. Just totally adore those
they have like a decade-long wait list too. Wow. For like the most simple watches.
Yeah.
I mean, I can stare at those images endlessly, even though they're like field watches or just the subtle like overly thickened Breguet numerals on that.
Those shots from that event you guys went to earlier this year.
Oh, just him.
Yeah, man.
Why I saw one at
I just was getting the brand mixed up, but with another Japanese brand. But Hida also absolutely fantastic. I was looking actually at the Armory letter cutter photos. Just on their site just the other day because
Yeah, man.
Excellent stuff there. All right, let's move over to watches that we would like to see released this year, if any of us have any. Well, we can start with one that we know is coming, but we don't know what it is, from Omega. Omega's been teasing something with some sort of a spring, a mainspring, or a...
you don't think it's a... I will.
I mean, I'm sure it is. What do we think this is going to be? Our hairspring? Like... Is it a high frequency Speedmaster?
Ooh.
Is it like a 5-day reserve?
That's interesting.
Speedmaster?
You know what? I'm gonna say high frequency because they brought that out in the chrono chime. That was
that was my thought too.
Yeah. Interesting.
All right. Well, there we've solved it. I love the idea.
In the mail from
I love the idea of a high frequency Speedmaster.
Yeah. Could it be a professional or would it have to be its own thing?
I don't know. I mean, people seemed pretty upset at the changes.
Wait, people were upset over something
at the 3861. Like you know that.
Were they upset? I felt like that watch was pretty well received.
Not everybody, but you know, like because it got the silicone escapement and the silicone coaxial escapement. Right?
We don't even go to space anymore, though. Like seriously, like, come on, it's just for billionaires now.
We will go to space soon enough.
Yeah. Look, I don't make the rules. I don't know, but I would take one of these. I think this is cool. I think this is.
I'm curious.
I'm
very curious. I
mean, speaking of silicon, like the patent for the CSEM, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce what that acronym stands for. If you guys want to, but
I don't even know.
Yeah, but it expired in November, so that could be a thing, right?
I think that will be a thing,
right? I mean, you're the silicon
connoisseur,
de facto.
Yeah,
you wrote it. Yeah. So I mean, like, how?
All right, I did write that article like last year, wasn't it?
I think it was this year. I think it was this year. Yeah, I don't know.
But can you put that on your business card, Zach? Silicon connoisseur.
The silicon horologist. I do not have that on my business card yet. Don't take that, please. Trademark.
I mean, how would how would that play out?
I think,
like,
I think for sure. I mean, ironically, Omega already obviously had access to it through Swatch Group because they had part of that. But I do think you're going to start seeing some really interesting things. I kind of wonder if that Frederic Constant monolithic was sort of held back a little bit in its being spread out in other watches and expanded on a little bit because of this. You know, that's totally speculation, but I mean, there's like, but people get real funny with patent stuff. So like, even though they were doing something totally different than a traditional escapement, they could just get held up in court by fussy yada yadas. But that's like, I've not seen anything indicating that. It's just my
we're not privy to all this.
No, we don't. But yeah, I hope so. I hope we do see and some like innovation with it, like the monolithic, because that thing is absolutely rad and a whole new type of watchmaking.
Sure. All right. Well, I'll jump in with my bad Tudor prediction that I think I make every year. A heritage chronograph coming back. I don't even want it to be a heritage chronograph. I just want the design of that Monte Carlo or home plate chronograph references to come back into a modern, because that's that's a wholly original Tudor design that I would like to see come back. They did it with those heritage chronographs. Execution, I feel like, was a little bloated, so I would like to see it kind of come back at its original dimensions, and I'd be a-okay.
I'm going to say, and this it might be a little bit biased given that I'm wearing like a Valjoux 7750 chronograph at the moment, but I would like to see them bring back the big block instead and come back with that arrangement of chronograph.
Never mind him, Tudor.
Yeah.
Never mind him.
I support that. Big block, yeah.
But I mean,
just get rid of the screw down pushers. My God,
no, we need the screw down pushers.
No one wants the Tudor Tiger chronos anymore.
Sure, those are cool. Also, 7750.
I don't care for that layout.
I didn't like that layout. Yeah, that was kind of weird.
That's such a unique chronograph design, though. That home plate and the Monte Carlo watches, sure. And it's they're the only ones that did it. Like I want to see that in a modern form. But more realistically, I think we'll see maybe more use of that Pro moniker on other watches. That would be
my prediction, and I am betting on this in the form of requesting a sample of something from Tudor currently for review. Last year at Watches and Wonders, when they launched the Black Bay Pro, which stole the show, they did like a whole kind of revamp of the Black Bay like bezel-less models, but only in the steel and gold versions. Some with diamond set dials and stuff like that. Yeah. So, and I feel like it was sort of intentionally done that those wouldn't be getting like sort of the mainstream attention as much because it's just less so. But they now, like the 36 millimeter versions feature the chronometer movement, the Canisi movement, the same one that's in the same caliber that's in the Black Bay 58 actually, on Jubilees with T-fit bracelets. And I literally didn't know this until like a few weeks ago. They have like rounded case sides now, more vis-a-vis sort of the Oyster Perpetual style. So I feel like there's an overhaul that's probably going to kind of transcend into the steel models, to be determined, but it's sort of a logic there. It's pretty safe. So I'm getting in with the steel and gold 36 black dial models because I feel like, I don't know. I want to check it out before the other ones come out. I don't know why, but that could be very high. You know, people were unhappy naturally with a 39 millimeter Ranger, now a 36 millimeter chronometer Black Bay Jubilee.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
With a more elegant case shape, which has been like the consistent criticism levied at all modern Tudor sport watches. Basically, is that you know,
straight.
That barn.
And then will they be keeping that just on bezel-less, or will that be making its way to belt? There's all. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah.
Kazan, you got any bad Tudor predictions? Not that I was.
That was
bad.
a good Tudor.
I think ours were pretty good.
Should I give a bad one? A purple Pelagos 39.
Oh yes. Okay.
Chime complication Pelagos 39.
A mono push.
I mean, my Tudor prediction is always kind of the same. They'll just like keep like iterating on the Black Bay, basically. Like I think we can count on like some sort of some sort of new Black Bay 58, different dial colors, maybe a different. I mean, we've seen precious metals now, so maybe ceramic. Like,
they did play with ceramic before.
Yeah.
They also play with the Metis.
With the Metis,
yeah. They'll just keep kind of like plugging and playing and like kind of mixing things up. And
but what's your ridiculous Tudor prediction?
Ridiculous Tudor.
Or what would you like to see from Tudor? Is there any watch you're like, gosh, I wish Tudor would do this? Or are you just like, I don't care?
I mean, like, I don't really care that much.
Okay. I thought you were going to say like the Advisor or something, like one of those weird watches.
Oh yeah, a new Advisor would be cool. Yeah, I like alarm watches. Like that'd be fun. I mean, I think I want like what most people want is just like sleeker, more shapely cases. Like to your point about those like slab-sided cases. Like, I don't feel like that's likely to happen because they've released so many watches that are so popular in this like with a very particular form factor over the last few years. It'd be weird if they just suddenly like changed it up. So I don't know. I haven't really thought like too much about Tudor. Believe it or not, they'll just kind of like release what they release, and some people will love it and some people will hate it, and then they'll do it again in 6 months, and it's just like an endless cycle.
But people will buy them.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Thomas, what about you?
Yeah, for Tudor, I've gotten Tudor on the mind more recently, just because I'm doing the Tudor Ranger review, which Zach Weiss wrote the hands-on and Kazan wrote the introducing post. But
Wouldn't spend like a lot. You're spending time.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, and then I'm comparing it to the Explorer. I mean, we did a video, Blake, about just comparing the watch to the 36 millimeter Explorer and just the Explorer in general. But you do notice like the difference in like the cases there, right? Like how the Explorer has kind of more like the rounded sides. It's polished sides, polished bezel. But man, maybe you mentioned a 37 millimeter Tudor Ranger. Like maybe that's like that was one thing you were. But like I would like to see like something like smaller, right? Maybe. I don't know. What else?
I feel like to that, like I feel like their watches, like they have the same feet print, whatever, over and over, and like it's something like a 37 for one model would be cool. Yeah. Because it wouldn't quite. I mean, even though the 21 millimeter lugs and the Pelagos 39 is kind of like infuriating to me, at least like that's not the same watch. It's not just like a titanium version of another watch with some styling changes. It's sort of its own thing. It's got a different proportion to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, would it even matter like they used like a different movement? Like what if they used a different movement from the 39? Because like I looked up the movement like widths and like, I'm not a watchmaker, but like I feel like if the watch is almost the same, or if not the same size as like a 36 millimeter movement, then like why cannot it fit in a 36?
Oh, I'm sure.
Case,
I'm sure.
Well, it can. I mean, that's why that Black Bay Steel and Gold has the 58 movement.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. Okay. Well, then there you go.
5206 or whatever. It is.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, man. Blue Pelagos.
A blue Pelagos 39.
Pelagos.
A blue Pelagos 39 with the same color of ceramic blocks from the FXD.
And if
would be a modern snowflake to a T.
And we go crazy throwing a GMT, dive GMT.
A dive GMT.
Yeah, let's get crazy, But
you can dive in our Black Bay Pros.
Yeah,
it's a pro.
It's a pro.
Thomas. Okay.
It's a pro.
It's a pro.
It's a pro.
Kazan, any other? What do you want to see? Any other predictions or watches that you would like to see this year?
You know what I was thinking is, I think I maybe predicted this last year and it didn't happen, so I'll just go ahead and predict it again.
Sure.
Try to will it into existence. But Grand Seiko has released like next generation versions of their high beat and spring drive movements. Where's the quartz? Where's the next gen quartz?
Yeah.
Citizen is caught up. Like they have a very comparable high frequency, highly accurate quartz movement. So Grand Seiko's turn to
Citizen actually has some pretty compelling watches in that realm as well, especially like in the Citizen. I think they've got a pretty cool design. Their nomenclature could use a little once over, maybe, but
they've been making those for a long time too.
But the watches are quite lovely.
We did mention this like a couple episodes back, but just like quartz in general. I really think that like if brands kind of explore that territory, it just provides a platform for them to kind of let their hair down a bit, step out of their comfort zone, see something different from a brand. It'll be theoretically affordable, right? More affordable,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So. That's right. That was the other ridiculous prediction that I wanted to make. Was a
Oh, now he wants to.
was like an oil filled FXD.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like with that same maybe even like thinner, maybe like the size of a maybe like 39, but it's filled with oil, quartz movement.
But the FXD's for shallow waters.
And then it's an FXD Pro. This is the FXD Pro.
Does it lack that distinction? Yours isn't a Pro. It's just FXD.
No, mine because mine's not filled with oil. And I have a quartz. Like if
Blake,
they
there's
made that, then
literally
it would be
nothing stopping you, Blake, from opening yours up and just pouring olive oil.
pouring oil.
olive oil.
We recommend canola.
Would you think extra virgin cold pressed?
Yeah.
What are you talking? Yeah.
EVOO. Huh?
Tell it goes EVOO.
What do you think?
For Tudor, I'm sort of in the same camp as Zach here. I could care less.
No, for whatever.
But
what do you want to see more of?
Of course, I'd love to see quartz make a comeback. That's weird to say. I mean, brands used to have like their standard mechanical model and then a quartz variant of the same model. I really think of Omega when I say this. When they're using ETA movements, they had quartz variants of many of the same watches.
Yeah.
Specifically, like the Pierce Brosnan Bond Seamasters forward, there are quartz variants of all of those. It would be cool to see because, and then you get that with Grand Seiko, and I think everyone sort of points at Grand Seiko, a lot of the same case designs, but with quartz movements, and they are more affordable. And it's a great, in some cases, they're actually a little bit smaller too, so the dimensions are more favorable depending on your wrist or your preference. But I'd like to see more quartz models from every brand.
Right. It wasn't that long ago that brands like their models that they took seriously also had like IWC up to like the late 90s. It was the same thing. You get some dope watches with
why that is.
Where are these at?
Yeah, you showed me some crazy IWC.
Oh yeah, that one is so cool.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
I forget what the name of that one.
I want a Zenith
reference
Future
was.
Time Command. I know I mentioned this the other podcast, but I am very serious about getting a Zenith Future Time Command. I don't want to buy a used one though, and I want like a modified Future Time Command. There's a unique watch design that no one's doing that looks like it came out of Blade Runner, and it was intended to look that way too. But I do feel like a lot of watches, and I can ask my fiance what she thinks about a new watch, and she'll say it looks the same as the next watch, looks the same as the next watch.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people, and I don't blame her for having that opinion. There's a lot of people share the mindset that playing it safe with sort of mid-century design aesthetics is just going to sell your product, but it's not exciting.
Yeah.
It's not really exciting for me. That's why something like the Zenith
I agree.
Future Time Command, FUTUR, is really exciting for me.
Future Time Command, or fill it with oil and put a quartz movement in it. Bang on.
Call
There
it a
you
day.
go.
Call it, yeah.
There you go.
You've got yourself a pro.
But with the oil fill, I would love to see just Zen do more with the hydro. I mean, there still is hydro in there, but they're they don't have like the EZM2 anymore. They're all on the larger side of their dive watches, so make a small one.
Like this would be perfect.
Oh my god, a U50 hydro
would be perfect.
That's it.
Let's
That's what
do
I
it.
want.
All right,
Titanium.
Zen. Let's do it.
Titanium.
Memo.
Titanium. Yeah. Or sub steel.
That would be awesome.
Then when I didn't put it online because I took a photo like the one time I've been near water in the last like several years. I was like, I was sitting on the edge of a pool and I was wearing my EZM2, and I like put my wrist under the water. I was like taking a photo, and I was like, that is the single most pathetic thing. Like, this watch can go down to the bottom of the Mariana Trench, and I'm sitting not even in the pool. I'm on the edge of it drinking, and it's like, this is not what they had in mind.
Yeah, I love it. But that's the caliber of like WTF that I want to see from mainstream brands.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
And Tudor like skirted that like last year with like the silver, like the stuff that you were like, what?
Yeah.
So anyways,
P01.
Yeah, a P01
Yeah.
maybe not the P01, but you know, that level of like off the path.
Finally bring out the 39mm P01 we've all been asking for.
Yes,
I do
And fill
like
it with
that
oil.
design.
If you
I do like
fill it with
mind.
oil. Yeah.
That's actually a really cool watch. I wish it
Filled
was
with margarine.
It's cool. It's just the lug claw is like
Yeah.
Yeah.
20 millimeters long. You know, it's an intense watch for sure. Okay, well, we have more of our thoughts on what we would like to see, what we hope to see coming.
One more quick one.
Yeah.
Just like, come on, like an IWC with the blunt hour hand, like that's the mark, whatever. I don't even care anymore. We're past 19, we're in like 40. Just make it small, like 38, 36 to 38 with the hour hand. Come on.
I'm with you.
I'm waiting.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all I want to say.
Non-oil filled though. Doesn't even have to be filled with oil.
It doesn't even have to. It's a pilot's watch. You don't need oil in the
that's
sky.
true. Okay,
Come on, don't be ridiculous.
That's true. That's true.
It's very dangerous to have oil in the sea.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah.
You can even bring your own water bottles to the airport.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. Would they make you drain you?
Drain your IWC for me.
Liquid. Yeah, knowing the TSA, probably. It's the
somebody
worst
would find a
experience
way.
in any airport.
How do you make
Is
it
the
worse?
TSA okay with your oil-filled sin? Like, that's a...
Oh, you did just travel with it.
I mean, as long as
Sounds
it's under 3 ounces, I think.
I have no
right?
idea
So-
what it is, but I mean...
That was a drive upstate. I don't know if I've worn it on an airplane, but you also can't tell it's full of fluid.
Right.
There's no like bubble visible on mine, at least, because it's got a liquid. And I'm not going to stop to tell the guy, did you know that this is a
Did you
filled
see
with
my-
unique
yeah.
oil?
Yeah.
You see the angle when you look at this low angle? You see that optical effect.
Here's a picture of it like near your pool.
Just under the water.
No distortion. It's wonderful.
Quick story about TSA. When I was traveling over the holiday, I had 2 books in my bag, and when they put it through the X-ray machine, it just looked like these 2 kind of blocks, slabs, and they didn't know what it was. So I had to open.
They've
my
never
bag.
seen books before.
There was like 3 of them talking about this, and they opened it up and they pulled the book out, and then the one guy turns to the rest of them. He's like, I told you it was a book, or I thought it was a book. It's like, okay, well, yeah. But there were these my sister-in-law and her husband got me these cocktail books, the Death and Company Cocktail Codex, and
one right there.
that one.
And no.
So because I like it's like
Because you like to drink a lot.
it's,
Yeah.
I like to drink. No, it's like a hobby of mine is
Yeah,
making like cocktails, which I really enjoy. So, anyways, the guy starts like flipping through it. There, he's like, ooh, and then,
God, guy.
and then he goes, he's like, ooh, next time you pass through, I'll take an old fashioned or something
Yeah.
cute like that. But, anyways, that's my.
That is appalling. I can't understand that.
He
That like
admits to drinking
books
on the
are so
job.
rare in bags that they can't tell what they are. I mean, it's non-metallic, inert. It's I don't know. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be a bit right there. Like, what type of TSA agent are you? Like, are you
And
the
then,
guy?
like, he pulled, and obviously it was a book, and then started like flipping
I think
through
it's
it.
more about the fact that nobody reads. They fly. No one has books
Yeah.
anymore. It's like
Maybe they were worried you were like an old time like movie villain and you would like hollowed out the book
Right.
to put like a gun in there or something.
Or
Isn't
that there
that
were
the point of the
spells.
X-ray machine?
There could have been
though?
dangerous spells. It was the Necronomicon.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Plus, I got books at the
I
Hudson.
left that at home this time.
Yeah, they have books in the airport.
Yeah,
Nobody
they have
buys
books at the
them.
Hudson News store, you know, so you can buy books there. You don't need to bring books.
How
to
many
your-
copies of like Oprah's autobiography?
That'd be an interesting find. Just a stack of those.
Okay. Let us know what you would like to see in 2023. What you think we'll see. What would you like to see? Do you make New Year's resolutions? Do you make New Year's resolutions around watches? Let us know down in the comments below. We would love to hear them. Welcome to 2023. Thank you for sticking with us this year. We appreciate each and every one of you. We can't wait to have all of, like explore all the new watches that are coming in 2023, and
be
hold
intense.
each other accountable to our what do you call them? Resolutions. Right?
To those things.
To those
To those things.
to those who believe in resolutions.
Yeah, Zach. Yeah, exactly.
It's not that I don't believe in them. I recognize that they exist.
Right.
It's not like dinosaurs, which are fake. But
Clearly fake.
I don't take part.
It's not like a round Earth.
Or birds, Yeah.
What is the most dangerous book you ever flew with right now?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. On that note, thanks for listening, and until next time, take care.